Hey, what's up? This is Marc with Sound Theory Studio, and I just wanted to do a quick video response to a question I got in one of my comments, and it came from Holly. And Holly wanted to know how to do some string skipping when playing fast, and specifically in a Mastodon song called Oblivion. So Holly, how you doing? Thanks for the question, and I'm sorry I'm not familiar with that song, so what I did was I looked at some guitar tab real quick, and then I listened to the song, like the first 30 seconds to a minute of it, and I heard the part you're talking about. I think it's kind of like when there's like an intro that's really slow, and then after that it picks up quite a bit, and there's like some like speed picking feel, and there's some string skipping to get to hit these melody notes. So I'm pretty sure that's the part you're talking about. So they're in a completely different tuning, and I don't know the song that well, so I can't show you exactly how to play it. But what I can do is tell you how I would go about learning it and give you some ideas. So first of all, when I was looking at the tab, it looks like the low E string is being used for bass notes, like in much of heavier music, right? And then they're also throwing in some of these melody notes. One of them is on the A string. And then there's another one on the D string, so now you're actually doing some string skipping. You have to skip over the A string. Okay, so I'm assuming that's the part that's giving you the most problems from what you said in your comment, especially the part about the string skipping, hitting that note on that melody note on the D string. So what I do, and this applies to everything, it's not just metal, it's jazz, country, rock, anything. Anytime you come across something on guitar that is difficult for you, and it's a passage that's challenging and you're having problems with it, there's a couple things you do. One is, of course, you play it slow to start. Play it so slow that it's unbearable if you have to, so that it's clean. Okay. The next thing you do is analyze it a little bit. And like I said, I'm not real familiar with the song, but I did take a minute to kind of analyze what was going on in that section. And what I noticed is that the bass notes are in odd groupings, at least if the tablature is correct that I found anyway. So it looks like you're hitting the bass note 7 times, then a melody note on the A string, and then the bass note 3 times, and then a melody note on the D string. Okay, so one thing that tells me is the bass notes are in odd groupings: 7 bass notes, then a melody note, 3 bass notes, then a melody note. Now, I'm sure the whole song isn't like that, but at least that one section looked to have that pattern to it. So what that tells me is if you start on a downstroke, so down, up, down, up, down, up, down, the melody note is going to be an upstroke. And then the same goes for the grouping of 3, down, up, down, so the next note has to be an upstroke, right? So you're talking about outside picking here. You're going to be ending the bass note on a downstroke, and the melody note will be an upstroke. So I show my picking hand a little bit here. So I'm hitting the outside of the strings. That's outside picking. So what I do when I want to learn something like this, and it's giving me some problems, is I always make an exercise out of it. So instead of just playing that song, that riff over and over and over, even though that can be helpful, what I would do is I would really focus in on the part that's giving you problems. And I'm assuming it is specifically the part where you have to do the string skipping from the low E string to the D string. So what I do is I make exercises based on what's giving me problems, and I focus in only on those. So let me give you an example. One thing I might do if I want to get that part down really good is I'd hit the low E string with a downstroke. Okay. Then I'd hit the D string on the 2nd fret, let's say, with an upstroke. So we have that outside picking going. Now, then maybe I'd go back to the low E. Then I'd hit the 3rd fret on the D string. Back to the low E. 4th fret on the melody note. Then 5th fret. Now play just that, string skipping the whole time. Right? Okay, so that's kind of how I tackle these kind of things. I make exercises based specifically on what's giving me a lot of problems. Focus in on the exact technique that is tripping you up, and then practice just that over and over and over. So, I mean, you can do that all over the guitar fretboard. So that's just kind of an example of what I would do. And I noticed the other melody note in that song is on the A string, so you're kind of going back and forth. So you could make an exercise based on that as well. So let's say we go downstroke on the low E string, upstroke on the second fret of the A string, back to the E string with a downstroke, and then an upstroke on the third fret of the D string. So what we have is you can move that around too. And that way you're really focusing in on that riff, because it really is just a mixture of hitting the bass note, hitting a melody note on the A string, hitting the bass note again, hitting a melody note on the D string. But I've kind of cut away all that, out for my exercise, because I'm assuming that part from your comment you're okay on. It's the string skipping, so focus just on the string skipping only. And really work on that over and over and over. After you do that, for a half hour to an hour, moving all over the fretboard, string skipping between the E and the A and the E and the D, give the song another shot. And I think what you're going to find is now all of a sudden it's a lot easier. Now, you may not be able to nail it just after a half hour, but but you'll get it eventually, especially if you make exercises out of it and continue to work on it in that way. So create an exercise, work on the exercise, go back to the song, see where you stand, see what's still giving you problems, create another exercise, or go back to the same exercise again if you need to. Keep working on that, then go back to the song again. One thing I did one time was in Metallica's Fade to Black, and this was like back when I was like 18 or 19, and I had just started playing guitar. And there's a section in that intro guitar solo in Metallica's Fade to Black, and it's like... something like that. I haven't played it in a long time. But it's quite a bit faster than that, too. And I remember thinking when I was like 19, like, there's just no way in the world I'm ever going to be able to play that. It just seemed so difficult at the time, especially up to speed. And so, fast forward years later, I had kind of forgotten about that song. Didn't spend much time on it at all. I didn't spend any time on it. At that point, I was writing my own music. I was in bands. Fast forward to really just a few months ago. And... all of a sudden it occurred to me, after all these years of playing guitar, I'll bet you I can go back to Fade to Black and it's just going to seem so easy now. And it was a really interesting thing for me to check it out, and sure enough it was. I mean, it was just no big deal at all. And the reason why clearly wasn't because I had been working on Fade to Black for a long time, because I haven't played it in years. The reason why it was all of a sudden easy is because I have played similar things in the meantime. Specifically sweep picking. I spent so many months just going... And that's the main concept of that little Fade to Black section that gave me problems way back when I was 18 years old. And so since I've spent all this time doing these sweep picking exercises, when I went back to that, I was like, oh, this is just the same thing I've practiced for years now. And sure enough, I was able to do it. So the reason I bring up that story is because it really is the same principle, where if something's giving you trouble, you make an exercise out of it, play the exercise over and over, get really good at it, then go back to the song. And you may find that the song is suddenly so much easier. So anyway, that would be my advice on tackling that Mastodon song and any song that you're having trouble with. So I hope that's helpful, and thanks so much for the comment, Holly. I appreciate it, and For the rest of you watching, I hope you'll subscribe. And if you have any questions, please just leave them in the comments or send me a message on YouTube. I can't respond to everybody, but every now and then I just sit back with my laptop and answer a question or two. It's fun for me, and I enjoy talking to you guys. So thanks for the support as always. Please check out my website. It's www.soundtheorystudio.com. I give lessons worldwide through video chat. It would feel a lot like this video, only we'd be talking back and forth. So if you want lessons, you can look into that on my website as well. I have my book available. It's called Guitar Theory. It's an introduction to music theory for guitarists. If you don't know music theory, I can't express enough how important that is. I mean, what good is it to play all these really fast, crazy licks if you have no idea how to apply them to an original song? Or if someone starts jamming, you have no idea how to play it. Because you don't know what key the song is in, you have no idea what notes are good. So music theory is every bit as important as technique, so I would encourage you to learn that if you haven't, and I'd encourage you to consider my book as an option in learning music theory. I wrote it step by step, assuming that you know nothing about it, and I tried to make it as easy as I could, and that's for sale on my website as an instant download. So thanks a lot, everyone. Holly, take care. Great question, and good luck with that. And if you get really good at playing that song, you should do like a video response to this video and show me you playing it. That would be awesome. All right, take care, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.